Hey everyone, it's Chris at Optimum, and on today's Community Corner, we're going to see about how to find the most recent entry from a series of rows inside of your sheet. So Bradley Co. is asking a question about returning the most recent update or date from a series of fleet records, and he's trying to leverage the max and collect function to get the most recent date from those rows. And he's right on track within this one. We'll kind of go into little details of the scenario here. So what essentially he's got is a series of numbers. So this presumed is the fleet number, so 3572, 3572, 573, and their specific event dates. Maybe it's a check-in point, delivery made, whatever the case may be in details. But he's looking to say, if I've got multiple dates for fleet number 3572, I want to return the most recent date. In this case, so for both rows, you might have 108 and then 108 as opposed to 1129 that's stored inside of that segment. They're close on their formula. They're using max, collect, which are the right combinations, and then number, date, number, row. It's just this that is kind of flipped around. You'd actually be looking to put the date first and then the number. We'll dive into that in a little second, but this is a great combination of functions to really look at collecting, metadata around other project or row information. So let's dive into what the collect function looks like, and then we'll go into a live sample to show you its functionality. In this case, Smartsheet's got this document to see the average collect, but the collect function within its formula from there starts at the range of the information that you're trying to collect. So in this scenario, we wanted to collect the date values, and then you apply to our criteria range. So we want to collect all the dates for all fleet numbers within a specific range that match certain criteria. So all dates for fleet, pick number 1, 2, 3, 4. That match that at the row in this segment. So collect function is just a collection of data, but you need to apply an additional function kind of before it to kind of make any useful kind of segments. So you can use things like average, join, min, or max, like we're going to be doing today, that basically applies to the data that you've collected with the criteria. So let's take a look at this. So I've kind of tried to create a good copy of the post, and we've got just the tracking ID, I've got a fleet number, the date that row was made, and then the two new columns I've added are the recent date and recent value. So we'll look at number 3572 as our specific scenario. And so for this fleet, we'll go ahead and filter this just so we can see a smaller range. So I've got three values here, and they've got a series of different dates. So we've got one for January 8th, I've got one for November 29th of last year, and we're mysterious, we put one in for a future date at the end of January of this year. And then I've got this recent date formula, which is saying, well, based on all of the dates for fleet number 3572, what is the most recent date? And that's going to be, of course, January 31st, 2024. You can check this too if you apply a filter to this range and then just select those dates. You can also see the maximum date here is 1/31/24, which matches our function. So what is that function? We're just using the max collect, and again, we're basically collecting all the dates for a fleet number 3572 that match the fleet number at row, in this case 3572. And so depending on which rows are visible at that time, so if I untoggle this filter, 574 is going to be all the dates for 3574, same case for 3573, excuse me. So that formula really is saying I'm collecting all the dates for the records that match the date at the row. And then what you're doing in the collect is I'm applying a max. And so if I've collected 3 dates here for 3572, it's doing the maximum of those dates, as we checked kind of in the bottom, to be 131 and storing that value. So that's really the max and collect formula in this application. But it's great to do things like the most recent date entered. You can apply min and find the minimum. You can do the average if you're looking at like response times by a certain case, or transit times for fleets. It's a really good combination of tools that you can have. Now I've kind of added some extra functionality to this sheet by this recent value column. And all this is doing is just checking if the recent date matches the date at the row, and then just adds a little star here. It helps kind of add a visual cue to if that, log for this fleet was the most recent record. You can also look at doing some conditional formatting to say if that recent value is starred, then I can apply that format to help again with the visuals. So hopefully this session has been useful for you. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you leave those below, and we'll see you next week.